During an online class, my boyfriend forgot to turn off his microphone. Over 200 people ended up listening to his entire date with another girl. Chapter 1. Mic on, game on Friday. 4 p.m. English class began as usual. Shenji propped her laptop on the desk, slipped in her earbuds, and clicked into the virtual classroom. On screen, the professor adjusted his camera and cleared his throat. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be covering... She wasn't really paying attention. She had already memorized most of the lecture notes during the first week of class. Besides, today's class held a different kind of highlight for her. Lin Jinshin, her boyfriend, was also online. He usually sat at his desk, pretending to listen seriously, always speaking in a quiet, thoughtful tone. Today was no different. On camera, he wore a gray t-shirt. His hair was slightly messy, as if he'd just taken a shower. Shen Jiayi watched the screen for a moment and smiled softly. That smile quickly froze. Janshen Jie, one miss. You so much? Will you come see me after class? That voice wasn't hers, and the entire class heard it. The chat box went dead silent. Even the professor paused for a second. Baby, I'll come after class, okay? Lin Jinshin's voice was warm, intimate. Shen Jiayi snapped her gaze to the corner of the screen. Mic on. His mic was still on. Her fingers hesitated over the keyboard. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Give me a kiss. First, Tilda, stop messing around. I'm still in class. Then say you love me. I love you, baby. 237 students. Not a single one spoke. From her perspective, the screen turned grayscale. She lowered her eyes and typed out a message. Your mic is on, but she didn't send it. She wanted to see just how far they'd go. Lin Jinshin clearly hadn't realized. His voice continued, smooth as ever. Baby, it's your birthday tonight. I got you a present, Tilda. Aw, Tilda. Jinshin Jie, you're the sweetest. But I saw that senior girl again today outside her dorm. So annoying, don't worry. She's just clingy. You know, you're the only one I care about. That senior girl? Was her. Shen Ji let out a soft laugh. The live stream remained silent. But she knew everyone was still tuned in. The gossip-loving girls, the quiet top students, the gaming boys, every single one of them was watching this real-time soap opera. None of them spoke. None of them warned her. They were all waiting for her reaction. 10 minutes passed before the professor finally cleared his throat again, puzzled. Lin Jinshin? I think your mic is still on. The camera jolted slightly, and then click. Silence. The chat box was still frozen. Until someone broke it. That was intense. And then the flood came. Didn't hear a single word of class. This was too juicy. He actually said that. When did those two start? The Shenji, you know? Way better than any drama. Shenji finally moved her fingers and typed. Got it. The chat fell silent again. No one dared respond. At that moment, Shenji was no longer the sweet, gentle girl they thought she was. She was the deep-sea predator. Perfectly still, but deadly. Class ended. She closed her laptop and removed her earbuds. Her roommate, Shaolin, leaned over carefully. Ji, are you okay? Shen Ji turned slightly, her eyes clear and calm. I'm fine. Want us to curse him out? That was so disgusting. No need. Her tone was soft. Cursing is inefficient. I have better methods. She stood, walked to the closet, and pulled out a crisp white blouse. Where are you going? To the library. I'm meeting a few top students to discuss a collaboration. Her voice was light, like she was preparing for an ordinary group project. But her posture, she looked like she was going to war. That evening, her phone lit up. A message from Lin Jinshin. Ji, I didn't know my mic was on during class. I'm sorry. Please don't misunderstand. That was my cousin. She's just been clingy lately. I couldn't say no to her. There's nothing between us. I only love you. Shenji stared at the messages for a few seconds, then slowly typed, "Are you free for lunch tomorrow? I need to talk to you." He replied instantly, "Of course, my treat. Maybe we can also discuss our wedding? My parents brought it up again recently. Wedding." Shen? Ji's lips curled into a smile. Sure. She turned off her phone and stood in front of the full length. Mirrored her reflection was gentle, delicate, harmless. She looked at herself and murmured, "Your show's over. Now it's my turn." Chapter 2. The silence was loud. Saturday morning arrived with an unusual stillness. The campus group chats, usually flooded with memes and complaints about homework, were eerily quiet. No one mentioned yesterday's incident. Not directly. Not a single name was dropped. Not a single confrontation posted. But the silence? It was deafening. Everyone had watched. Everyone had listened. 237 people, each one a witness. And none of them warned her. Not a comment. Not a message. Not even a simple anonymous reminder. They let the show go on. They had let her burn. And she had smiled the entire time. Shenji sat at her usual seat in the campus cafe, a corner table by the window. A steaming cup of latte rested beside her notebook, which was open but untouched. She wasn't here to study. She was waiting. Across the room, a few students snuck glances her way. Normally, they might whisper or pretend to bump into her. Today, they kept their distance, watching like she was a fuse, just waiting to be lit. At 12:03 p.m., Lin Jinshin arrived. Gee. He jogged over, a warm smile plastered on his face. "Sorry I'm late, couldn't find parking." She looked up slowly, gaze calm. "You're 3 minutes late." "Just 3? He chuckled. "I used to say I was cute when I showed up late." She didn't answer. Instead, she picked up her cup and sipped quietly. That smile he was expecting? Nowhere in sight. So, he began sliding into the seat across from her. "About yesterday?" "Yes," she said, setting the cup down. "Let's talk about that." Jinshin rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "Honestly, I was shocked when you messaged me. I had no idea my mic was on. The whole thing, what a nightmare, right?" She tilted her head. "A nightmare?" "Yeah. I mean, it was all a misunderstanding. You know, I never cheat on you, right? That girl Xiao Yu is just clingy. She's always been a little intense." Shen Jiwi watched him spin the story with practiced ease. His hands moved just enough. His voice just right, not defensive. Not guilty, strategically apologetic. "You've been so busy lately," he added, leaning forward. "Maybe I didn't tell you enough how much you mean to me. But baby, I love you. You know that." Shenji stared at him for a long moment. Then, she smiled. It was the smile he'd been waiting for. Except, it wasn't soft. It wasn't sweet. It was razor sharp. "Do you remember what you told me on my birthday?" she asked. He blinked. "Of course. I said I'd always protect you. That you're the only one." "No," she interrupted gently. "You said, I love how smart you are, but I love it more when you act dumb around me." Lin Jinshin froze. She leaned in slightly, voice still low, still calm. "I've always remembered that." "Gee, I didn't mean..." "I know exactly what you meant." She smiled wider. "You like that I never questioned anything. That I played the perfect girlfriend while you got to enjoy both sides." The cafe had fallen silent around them, and nearby students were pretending not to eavesdrop with very little success. And now, she continued, pulling a small envelope from her bag. "I'd like to return something." She placed it gently on the table. He opened it. Inside was a printed screenshot of the call log from the night before. Her name, his name, and a third name. XIAOYU. Time stamped at repeated. Multiple calls, messages, voicemails. I didn't have to look far, she said casually. She's not very discreet. Jinshin's expression twisted. "Why are you making this a big deal?" It's not like you cheated. Her tone was cold now, sharp. I made a mistake. You lied. You manipulated. And you disrespected me in front of 200 people. He opened his mouth to retort, but she raised a hand. I am not here to fight, Jinshin. I just wanted to give you one last chance, one last time for you to tell the truth. She picked up her cup again, sipped slowly. He sat there, stunned. Hands clenched into fists beneath the table, you know? She mused, the saddest part isn't that you cheated. He looked up, eyes flashing. It's that you really thought I wouldn't find out. That afternoon, a private message pinged in her inbox from top ranker, Wu Yaifin Subject. Let's talk asterisk, hey Shenji. I saw what happened. If you ever want to make someone cry through grades, I'm in. We both know who deserves first place. This semester, asterisk, she smiled on another ping followed dot from Vice President Su Yingyinzi. I have screenshots. Lots of them. Ready when you are dot another dot from Drama Club President. Xiao Ning wanted to stage a comeback scene. I've got lights, camera, and a whole crew. They were all watching. They all stayed silent. But now, they were ready to act. That night, Shenji sat by her dorm window, the city lights twinkling in the distance. Her roommate tiptoed over. You okay? Ji turned to her with a thoughtful look. You know what's interesting? She said, voice soft. What? No one warned. Me? Not one person sent me a message yesterday. But now they all want to help. Her roommate bit her lip. I think they just didn't know how to tell you. Maybe, Ji said. Or maybe they were waiting to see if I'd break. Did you? Shenji smiled faintly. I don't break, she said. I calculate. Outside, a cool breeze rustled the curtains dot in her inbox. Dozens of messages continued to pour in. Screenshots. Evidence. Offers dot, she turned off the lamp and opened her laptop dot time to get to work. Chapter 3. The gift you asked for Sunday afternoon. The sun was bright, casting golden light over the courtyard of the university's central plaza. Shenji walked slowly beneath the ginkgo trees, her steps steady every inch of her appearance. Deliberate from the crisp white blouse to the pearl hairpin glinting in her jet black hair dot in one hand, she held a small, wrapped box tied with a satin ribbon dot. Her expression was gentle. Almost angelic dot, no one would have guessed she was about to deliver a nuclear strike. Outside the campus cafe, Jiang Shouyu was already waiting dot. She was dressed in a pastel pink dress, carefully curled hair framing her delicate face. She looked like the picture of innocence if you ignored the fact that her eyes flicked toward every passing student like she was scanning for cameras. G. She greeted, waving enthusiastically. Shenji smiled faintly. Xiaoyu. I was so surprised you agreed to meet. Xiaoyu beamed. I thought you'd be mad at me after yesterday. Shenji sat down across from her. Why would I be mad? Xiaoyu's smile froze for half a second, then resumed. Right? It was just a misunderstanding after all. Jinshin Jie explained everything. Shenji set the box on the table and gently slid it across. A gift, she said. For your birthday. Xiaoyu's eyes sparkled. Really? Gee, you're the best. She untied the ribbon eagerly, lifted the lid, and paused dot inside the box were 3 neatly printed items. A transcript of her recorded phone call with Lin Jinshin. A series of screenshots from their private messages. A copy of the school's honor code policy on academic and personal misconduct. Xiaoyu blinked. What's this? Evidence. Ji said simply. And a warning. I don't understand. You see? Ji leaned back slightly, folding her hands. I thought about being dramatic. Posting this online? Sending it to your department head, maybe your parents. She tilted her head, studying the girl across from her. But that would be too kind. Xiaoyu's face turned pale. Ji, you had your fun, Xiaoyu. You wanted a gift. I'm giving you one, a choice. Shenji held up 2 fingers. 1. You come clean. Publicly. Apologize, admit everything, and stay away from both me and Jinshin forever. Or 2. She smiled sweetly. I press enter. She pulled her phone from her pocket. On the screen, an email draft was already opened. To Dean's office. Subject. Formal misconduct report attached were the files, all neatly labeled. Xiaoyu's mouth opened and closed. You're bluffing. Try me? Ji's voice was still calm. Almost pleasant, but her eyes were cold. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, Xiaoyu stammered. I liked him first. Ji raised an eyebrow. So you plotted behind my back, pretended to befriend me, and let me humiliate myself in front of the entire class. Her voice was barely above a whisper now. Cute excuse. Xiaoyu bit her lip, eyes starting to water. Please. I didn't know the mic was on. I swear. Neither did I, Ji said. But it was the best gift you could have given me. She stood slowly, picking up her bag. You have 24 hours. Jie, if I don't see a public apology by then, she said, as she turned to leave, your scholarship, your reputation, and your pretty little performance career, all gone. She paused, then added gently, Happy birthday. That night, the school forum exploded. A new post appeared under the student board. From Jiang Xiaoyu. Dear classmates, I would like to sincerely apologize for the events that took place during our recent online lecture. It was never my intention to hurt anyone, especially not someone I respected as much as Shenji. What happened between me and Lin Jinshin was inappropriate, dishonest, and cowardly. I take full responsibility and will be stepping down from all public roles for the semester. I am truly sorry. Jiang Xiaoyu's replies came fast and furious. You don't say. Took you long enough. So she was the other woman. Knew it. Protect Shenji at all costs. Queen behavior, and among the chaos, someone commented, Justice, delivered by a gift box. Elsewhere on campus, Lin Jinshin was pacing his dorm room, phone in hand. Face pale, he'd seen the post. He knew what it meant. He dialed her number. It went to voicemail. Then again. Still nothing. On the 3rd try, she picked up. Ji, listen, it's done, she said. I didn't know she'd post that. She didn't, Ji replied. I did, but pause. You... What? I wrote it. She signed it. You forced her? I offered her a choice, Ji said, voice quiet but firm. She chose wisely. You should do the same, Jinshin laughed bitterly. You think this makes you better than us? No, she said. It makes me smarter. Ji, wait. Let's just talk, okay? We can fix this. I still love you. She hung up. No hesitation. In her dorm, Shenji lay back on her bed, scrolling through her inbox. Messages kept pouring in. You're amazing. Want to tutor me? I'm designing t-shirts that say, G Squad, you in? If you ever want to run for student council, I'll manage your campaign. Her roommate leaned over. I planned this whole thing in like 2 days? Ji shrugged. Less, actually. You're terrifying. Ji smiled, unprepared. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, but inside her it was quiet. Not the silence of being ignored. The silence of knowing she had taken back control. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 3. The gift you asked for Sunday afternoon. The sun was great, casting golden light over the courtyard of the university's central plaza. Shenji walked slowly beneath the ginkgo trees, her steps steady every inch of her appearance. Deliberate from the crisp white blouse to the pearl hairpin glinting in her jet black hair. In one hand, she held a small, wrapped box tied with a satin ribbon. Her expression was gentle, almost angelic. No one would have guessed she was about to deliver a nuclear strike. Outside the campus cafe, Jiang Xiaoyu was already waiting. She was dressed in a pastel pink dress, carefully curled hair framing her delicate face. She looked like the picture of innocence, Few ignored the fact that her eyes flicked toward every passing student like she was scanning for cameras. G, she greeted, waving enthusiastically. Shenji smiled faintly. Xiao Yu. I was so surprised you agreed to meet. Xiao Yu beamed. I thought you'd be mad at me after yesterday. Shenji sat down across from her. Why would I be mad? Xiao Yu's smile froze for half a second, then resumed. Right? It was just a misunderstanding after all. Jinshin Jie explained everything. Shenji set the box on the table and gently slid it across. A gift, she said. For your birthday. Xiao Yu's eyes sparkled. Really? Gee, you're the best. She untied the ribbon eagerly, lifted the lid, and paused. Inside the box were 3 neatly printed items. A transcript of her recorded phone call with Lin Jinshin. A series of screenshots from their private messages. A copy of the school's honor code policy on academic and personal misconduct. Xiao Yu blinked. What's this? Evidence, Ji said simply. And a warning. I don't understand. You see? Ji leaned back slightly, folding her hands. I thought about being dramatic. Posting this online? Sending it to your department head, maybe your parents. She tilted her head, studying the girl across from her. But that would be too kind. Xiao Yu's face turned pale. Ji, you had your fun, Xiao Yu. You wanted a gift. I'm giving you one, a choice. Shenji held up 2 fingers. 1, you come clean, publicly, apologize, admit everything, and stay away from both me and Jinshin forever. Or 2, she smiled sweetly. I press enter. She pulled her phone from her pocket. On the screen, an email draft was already opened. To Dean's office, subject. Formal misconduct report attached were the files, all neatly labeled. Xiao Yu's mouth opened and closed. You're bluffing. Try me? Ji's voice was still calm. Almost pleasant, but her eyes were cold. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, Xiao Yu stammered. I liked him first. Ji raised an eyebrow. So you plotted behind my back, pretended to befriend me, and let me humiliate myself in front of the entire class. Her voice was barely above a whisper now. Cue excuse. Xiao Yu bit her lip, eyes starting to water. Please. I didn't know the mic was on. I swear. Neither did I, Ji said. But it was the best gift you could have given me. She stood slowly, picking up her bag. You have 24 hours. GA, if I don't see a public apology by then, she said, as she turned to leave. Your scholarship, your reputation, and your pretty little performance career, all gone. She paused, then added gently, Happy birthday. That night, the school forum exploded. A new post appeared under the student board. From Jiang Xiaoyu. Dear classmates, I would like to sincerely apologize for the events that took place during our recent online lecture. It was never my intention to hurt anyone, especially not someone I respected as much as Shenji. What happened between me and Lin Jinshin was inappropriate, dishonest, and cowardly. I take full responsibility and will be stepping down from all public roles for the semester. I am truly sorry. Jiang Xiaoyu's replies came fast and furious. You don't say. Took you long enough. So she was the other woman. Knew it. Protect Shenji at all costs. Queen behavior, and among the chaos, someone commented, Justice, delivered by a gift box. Elsewhere on campus, Lin Jinshin was pacing his dorm room, phone in hand. Face pale, he'd seen the post. He knew what it meant. He dialed her number. It went to voicemail. Then again. Still nothing. On the 3rd try, she picked up. G, listen, it's done, she said. I didn't know she'd post that. She didn't, G replied. I did. Pause. You... What? I wrote it. She signed it. You forced her? I offered her a choice, G said. voice quiet but firm. She chose wisely. You should do the same. Jinshin laughed bitterly. You think this makes you better than us? No, she said. It makes me smarter. Gee, wait. Let's just talk, okay? We can fix this. I still love you. She hung up. No hesitation. In her dorm, Shen Jiyi lay back on her bed, scrolling through her inbox. Messages kept pouring in. You're amazing. Want to tutor me? I'm designing t-shirts that say, G Squad? You in? If you ever want to run for student council, I'll manage your campaign. Her roommate leaned over. You planned this whole thing in like 2 days? Ji shrugged. Less, actually. You're terrifying. Ji smiled. I'm prepared. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, but inside her it was quiet. Not the silence of being ignored. The silence of knowing she had taken back control. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 4. Let's break the curve. Monday morning. The university halls buzzed with whispers and glances. Shen Jiyi walked through the corridors, head held high, completely unbothered by the hundreds of eyes tracking her every step. Some people smiled at her. Others looked away in shame, but all of them moved aside when she passed Dot. It was like watching the sea part for a storm. In classroom 402, students were still filtering in for advanced calculus, the most dreaded class of the semester. It was notorious for its brutal grading curve, and for the fact that only 1 or 2 students ever earned full marks. Today, Shenji didn't sit in her usual front row seat. Instead, she walked to the back of the room where 3 people were. Already waiting. Lu Yufan, the top-ranked science student in their department. Su Yinyan, vice president of the student union, famous for her memory and connections. Qiao Ning, president of the drama club, also a professional-level scriptwriter. With a flair for theatrics. They were all watching her. Everyone's late. Ji said casually, sitting down between them. Let's start early. Lu Yufeng raised an eyebrow. Start what? She smiled. Rebuilding my reputation. Su Yinyan leaned forward. You want to top the department ranking? Not just top it, Shen Jie said. Break the curve. Bye. The time the professor arrived, whispers had already started spreading about the Back Row Alliance. Some thought they were just collaborating for fun. Others weren't so naive. It was rare for anyone to challenge the department's grading curve, let alone a girl who, until last week, had been labeled the pretty but dumb girlfriend of a top student. Now she was seated with the most dangerous minds on campus, and she was smiling. That afternoon, they met in the library. Lu Yufan laid out stacks of practice exams. These are from the last 5 years. I've cracked the professor's logic pattern. He rotates question types every 3 semesters. Su Yinyan added, and I pulled his research papers. He likes to sneak his own theorems into midterms. Qiao Ning opened her laptop. I've prepared a digital timer with breaks, mock test, routines, and dramatic music to keep us motivated. Juyi blinked. Dramatic music? It's scientifically proven. Tchaikovsky improves logical reasoning. I also have a playlist labeled Burn Your X Energy. I'll take that one, Ji said without hesitation. They got to work. 3 hours passed. No one spoke unless it was about derivatives or matrix functions. They argued about method. Steps like generals at a war table. Ji soaked it all in, fast, focused, relentless. By the end of the night, Lu Yifan leaned back, stunned. Holy, you weren't kidding. You really are smart. Ji sipped her coffee. I never said I wasn't. Qiao Ning giggled. You've been playing dumb this whole time? Ji shrugged. Letting others underestimate me made life easier. Until it didn't. Su Yinyan gave her a sly smile. Well, now the mask is off. Ji's expression didn't change, but her eyes flickered with something sharp. I don't wear masks, she said. Just timing devices? By the end of the week, the Back Row Alliance was officially infamous. Professors took notice. Students speculated wildly. And Lin Jinshin? He watched from afar, stunned. His ex-girlfriend, once quiet and accommodating, was now commanding the attention of the entire campus. He tried calling again. She didn't pick up. He tried cornering her. Outside class. She looked him in the eyes and said, "Move." He did. The real moment came 2 weeks later. Midterm results were released. The grading curve, infamously steep, was shattered. Shen Ji, 100% Lu Yifan, 98% Su. Yinyan, 97.5% Qiaoning, 96% everyone else. Downhill. The classroom erupted. Who the hell gets 100 on that paper? Did she cheat? No way. The professor triple-checked. She aced it legit. She was dating Lin Jinchen and still scored higher than him. Wait, what did he get? 82. 80-2 lower than ZH. I lower than half the alliance. His name had fallen finally from the pedestal he built, and hers had risen, higher than ever. That afternoon, someone slipped a note into her locker. White envelope. No name. She opened it. Congratulations. You're officially the most dangerous girl on CAMPU SPS. The dean would like to speak with you about a mentorship program. A Fancy Yi folded the note, tucked it in her notebook, and walked away. At the courtyard, a group of underclassmen saw her and waved. GG. She paused, turned, and smiled. Study hard. Finals will be fun. In the student lounge, Su Yinyan whispered to Qiao Ning, "You think she's going to run for student council president next year?" Qiao Ning laughed. "If she does, she win. But honestly, I think she's playing a much bigger game." Su raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Qiao Ning smirked. "Like we're writing the rules and Shenji?" She sat on the library balcony that evening, watching the sun set behind the main building. Her phone buzzed again. Lin Jinchen. "Gee, let's meet. Just once. Please." She blocked the number. No hesitation. Then she opened her notebook and wrote a single sentence at the top of a new page. Phase 2. The stage is mine. Chapter 5. Public enemies and private agendas. By the start of November, Shen Ji was no longer the girl who got cheated on. She was a name. A symbol. Students whispered about her in the hallways, the library, even an anonymous online confession. Post. If Shen Ji stares at you for more than 3 seconds, apologize immediately. She broke the grading curve like it owed her money. Honestly, I'd vote for her even if she started a cult. Even professors started calling her by name in lectures. Unlike most of you, Shen Ji managed to solve this in under 15 minutes. One said during a problem-solving workshop, gesturing at the board. Someone in the back muttered, "Of course she did." But with popularity came resistance. On a quiet Wednesday afternoon, a post surfaced on the school forum. Exposed. The real Shen Ji. Manipulative, two-faced, and not as perfect as you think. A lengthy, anonymous essay accused her of faking her grades. Sleeping her way to top scores. Bribing professors with family connections. Emotionally abusing. Lin Jinchen. It was venomous, personal, clearly calculated to ruin her image. Comments began flooding in within minutes. "No way this is true, right? She's too perfect. Kinda makes you wonder, didn't she get 100 on the calculus midterm? That's impossible. Where there's smoke, there's fire." The campus, which had been hers, now turned uncertain. That's when she smiled. 3 hours later, she called a meeting. Not in private. In public. She rented out the small auditorium used for student workshops and events. Then she posted a simple message on the forum. "Since we're all interested in my personal life, let's talk in person. Tonight, 7 p.m. Lecture Hall B, bring snacks." The room was packed. Some came out of support, some came for drama, and some came to see. For fall, she walked in exactly at 7 p.m. Dressed in a charcoal blazer, white shirt, and jeans polished, but effortless. Her hair was tied back. No accessories. No makeup. Just clarity. She took the center of the stage and picked up the mic. No slides. No script. She began. Just Me. The room stilled. Earlier today, someone posted a list of accusations against me. Some of you read it, some of you forwarded it, a few of you even screenshot it and sent it to your group chats with laughing emojis. She paused, letting the silence stretch. I'm not here to deny everything, because I don't need to. Gasps. Murmurs dot someone near the front whispered. She's really not scared, huh? Shenji scanned the crowd. I don't need to explain my grades. My professors already did that when they posted the breakdown sheets publicly. Anyone can check them. She held up her phone, turning it toward the audience. Don't take my word for it. Read the numbers. Pause. As for the rest, the bribery, the favors, the emotional manipulation, let's talk about what isn't in that post. She clicked her screen. The projector flickered on behind her, displaying a screenshot of the original anonymous post. Then, she zoomed in on the metadata. This was posted by a user on a VPN, registered to the IP address of the mechanical engineering dorm, Jinshin's dorm. The crowd gasped. Shenji continued, voice steady. And if anyone's curious, yes, I traced it. No, I won't apologize. Because when someone lies about me in public, I don't respond in whispers. From the audience, someone yelled, drag him. Laughter. Applause. G didn't smile. Instead, she pulled out a folder. I brought printouts. Not because I need to prove anything, but because I believe in transparency. She handed them to the front row. Signed testimonials from 3 professors confirming I never once asked for favors. Copies of emails showing my work submissions. And a record of student council ethics reports I helped investigate, ironically. One of which involved Jinshin's plagiarism case last semester. Dead silence, then an eruption of gasps, then applause. She looked toward the crowd again. This isn't about me being perfect, she said. I'm not. She stepped closer. To the edge of the stage, it's about not letting people who hurt you control your story. Her eyes found one specific seat empty. When Jinshin hadn't dared to show .coward .dash that night. The forum flipped again. She walked into a live ambush and turned it into a TED Talk. She handed out receipts, printed in color. Lin, Jinshin just deleted his socials, as he should. And then someone posted the full video. It went semi-viral within campus networks and alumni groups. Shenji, the girl who doesn't break, she breaks you, back in her dorm, Su Yinyan dropped onto Ji's bed. That was magnificent. Qiao Ning tossed her a protein bar. You didn't even raise your voice once. Liu Fan leaned against the window, arms crossed. You just declared war. What's the next move? Ji took a slow breath, then pulled a folder from her backpack. She laid it on the table. On the cover, Student Council President nomination filing Enian blinked. Wait, you're actually doing it. Ji finally smiled. I'm done reacting. She looked each of them in the eye. Now I'm taking the stage, whether they liked it or not. Chapter 6. The Queen's campaign, the announcement dropped like a thunderclap. Shenji officially enters the race for Student Council President. Within 10 minutes, the campus forum crashed from the flood of traffic. By the hour mark, someone had already started a meme page at Gia for Presidini the end of the day. She had volunteers. By the end of the week, she had a movement. Posters appeared overnight. We've seen her take back her name, now let's give her the mic. Brains, integrity, zero tolerance for bullshit. Vote Shenjui or hide from her later. Her slogan? Simple. No more masks. No more silence. Behind the scenes, her war room was fully operational. In a borrowed study room at the back of the library, her team had transformed the whiteboard into a battlefield map. Names, influence charts, student groups, rival alliances. And voting blocks that looked more like a military campaign than a school election. Lu Yifan handled polling data and numbers. Su Yinyan secured endorsements and dug up rival skeletons. Qiao and ING orchestrated all speechwriting and visual media. At the center of it all, Shen Ji, sharp, focused, unapologetic. This isn't about popularity, she said during their first strategy meeting. This is about changing the way this campus handles power. Yin grinned, and putting you at the top of it. Ji gave her a look. No, I'll just hold the seat. We will be the power. Yifan raised a brow. Spoken like a queen. Ji smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Of course, no campaign goes unchallenged. The moment Ernine hit the nomination board, her old enemies crawled out like roaches. First came the smear attempts again. A second wave of anonymous posts tried to discredit her, this time attacking her team. Did you know her vice strategist Yinyan rigged last year's club budgets? That Liu Yifan only stays top of class because his dad donated a lab? Drama club president, more like drama queen. It was messy, juvenile, and entirely expected. Ji didn't flinch. She posted a single response. Dear Anonymous, next time you want to start a fire, at least use dry wood. These lies are too damp to burn. Then she followed it up with a carousel of fact-checked screenshots debunking every accusation again. The replies under her post: this woman runs on gasoline and revenge. I'd let her manage my life savings. Vote Shen or regret later. Simple. Her biggest threat wasn't slander. It was her opponent. Yu Lin, current vice president of the council, charismatic, experienced, and born into a family of political sharks. He wore charm like a suit and spun narratives like silk. He called for a televised debate. Of course, she accepted. Debate night. The auditorium was packed. Students filled every seat and spilled into the aisles. The event was live-streamed too. Every major student platform. Yu Lin stepped onto the stage in a navy blazer and tie, flashing a dazzling smile. Shen Ji followed minimalist black blouse, sleeves rolled. No notes in hand. The host began. Let's start with opening statements. Yu Lin launched into a polished speech about tradition, student unity, and preserving the legacy of leadership. He ended with a practiced smile and light applause. Then they turned to Shen. She didn't walk to the podium, she stepped down, right in front of the audience. And said, some of you know me as the girl whose boyfriend cheated. Others know me as the girl who got a perfect score. But starting today, I want you to know me as the girl who won't let this school lie to you anymore. Gasped. She continued, I'm not here to smile for photos and shake hands with donors. I'm here because when people betray your trust, you should be able to fight back and win. She gestured to seats. I've fought your professors. I've fought your exes. I've fought your rumors. And I've never fought alone. She turned to Yu Lin. You've been in student council for 3 years. Tell me, how many of your policies protected students instead of prestige? He stiffened. We've funded dozens of support programs, which were shut down during budget cuts. That wasn't mine. Were you there when the mental health line went offline for a week and no one answered the emails? Silence. Were you there when harassment complaints got lost in admin folders? No answer. Shen Ji raised her mic. I was. The auditorium exploded. That night, her follower count tripled. The video of her speech hit 50,000 views by midnight. Someone put her words to music and uploaded it as a hype anthem. Even faculty tuned in. And Lin Jingshen? He posted a vague message. Some people only rise when others fall. To which someone replied, Bro, she fell. She built a staircase while falling. And now she's 10 floors above you. In the war room, Ji crossed the final line on the whiteboard. Debate. Secured. Yin Yin handed her a mock crown made of gold-painted paper clips. Too early. She grinned. Ji laughed. For once, it wasn't cold. Maybe. She looked out the window. Rain had started to fall, but the campus lights were still glowing. 1 more week, she murmured. And then Yifan looked up. Then what? Shen Ji stared into the glass. Then I stopped defending. She turned back to the group and started leading. Chapter 7. Election day dawned under a cold, gray sky. The clouds hung low over the campus like an omen, but for Shenji, it felt like clarity. She stood at her dorm window, sipping black coffee, dressed in a crisp white shirt and black slacks. No slogans, no frills. No more pretending. Today, she didn't need armor. She was the storm. Voting stations opened at 8 a.m. Lines formed instantly. Not for free donuts or campus merch, but because students actually wanted to vote for her. From business majors to fine arts students, from club leaders to freshmen who had only heard her name through whispers and screen recordings, they came. For her, she stood up when no one else would. She made the system blink first. I've never met her, but I believe her. Meanwhile, Yu Lin campaigned on flyers, legacy, and past titles. But that morning, half of his posters had been replaced. You can't leave from the shadows. You don't need pretty speeches. We need people who fight. No signature, but everyone knew by noon. #Jew for President was trending across school platforms. The university's official election site temporarily crashed due to traffic. The student radio played Eye of the Tiger, followed by a pre-recorded message. This is your future. This is your voice. This is Shenji. At the center of it all, Ji sat calmly in the campaign room, reading a biography of Eleanor Roosevelt. She looked up when Su Yinyan entered. Polls close at 5, Yinyan said. You nervous? Not really. Because, you've won? Because either way, they've already heard me. Yinyan sat beside her. You really are terrifying sometimes. Thank you, Ji said, flipping the page. 4:59 p.m., the final minute ticked down. Students rushed to cast last-second votes, phones in hand, cheering in hallways. At 5 p.m., the portal closed. The counting began. And the silence returned. It took 3 hours. 3 very long hours. The announcement came via live stream on the university's media channel. The student council president stood beside the dean, holding a sealed envelope. Camera lights glared, microphones waited. Chat boxes filled with anticipation. After a record-breaking turnout, the president said, with 72% of the student body casting their votes, a pause. We officially announced the 2025 Student Council president is the envelope tore. Shenji. The broadcast didn't need sound after that. Because the entire campus roared. From dormitories to libraries, from study halls to outdoor cafes, cheers, screams, confetti, and stomping erupted. Let's go, ZHIYI. She did IT. Our president. Queen behavior only. The music blasted. Someone even set off fireworks behind the engineering building. Ji didn't attend the victory rally. Instead, she walked alone to the main quad, where everything had started, where she used to sit with her now disgraced ex, quietly helping, and study while he took credit. Now, she stood at the center. Above her, banners with her name danced in the wind. She took out her phone. One final message from Lin Jinshin sat unread. I hope you're happy. She deleted it without opening. She was happy, not because she had destroyed him, but because she'd rebuilt herself, and the world had watched. Back at the war room, the team was celebrating. Li Yufan popped sparkling juice and poured it into plastic cups. To the Empress, Qiao Ning raised hers. To the girl who burned the system and danced on its ashes, Su Yinyan clinked cups with a grin. To the one who made silence her weapon and truth her crown, Ji walked in at that moment. Everyone froze. Then they lifted their cups. She raised hers just a little. Not queen, she said. Not empress. They blinked. Just a girl, Ji said softly, who stopped waiting for permission. That night, she returned to her dorm, alone, and pulled out the folder that had started it all. Her nomination file. She didn't frame it. She didn't post it. She put it in a drawer and closed it. Because tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. Tomorrow, she'd start something new. Not revenge. Not reaction. Leadership. Because some girls wait for the system to open its doors. Others learn how to kick them down. In Shenji, she built her own building. Chapter 8. The girl who builds empires. 1 week after election day, The campus felt different, not because of banners or speeches, not because Shen Jiyi had changed anything yet, but because everyone knew change was coming. The halls were quieter, but the silence now buzzed with expectation, not fear. Professors prepared early for meetings they used to postpone. Club leaders showed up on time for the first time all year. Even admin assistants sat up straighter when her name appeared on there. Schedules. No official orders had been given, but her presence was policy now. Her first day in office was a Monday. No grand entrance. No dramatic speech. She arrived 10 minutes early, coffee in hand, and unlocked the council office herself. Inside, outdated filing cabinets, stale air, a broken AC unit, and 3 former officers pretending they hadn't planned to ghost the meeting. She looked around, nodded once, and said, "We're starting over." The first to go was the hierarchy. No more vice president titles for clout. She told the team, "If you don't produce, you're not on the list." "Wait, what do you mean?" One officer stammered. G looked him dead in the eye. "I mean, I've reviewed your project reports for the last semester. 0 actual hours. You showed up for photo ops." "That's it." He opened his mouth. She slid a folder across the table. Printed proof. "You're welcome to stay," she sighed. As a volunteer. He didn't return the next day. Next. Budget reform. She pulled 3 years of financial logs and color-coded, then by department and club. When the treasurer tried to explain a mysterious 120,000 yuan labeled miscellaneous development, she raised an eyebrow. "Oh, what kind of development involves karaoke machines, steakhouse receipts, and a fake invoice from your cousin's company?" Dead silence. He resigned before lunch. G's statement to the press was short. "Transparency is not optional. It's day 1, you've been warned." By the end of week 1, half the old council had either resigned or been demoted. In their place. She promoted students who had been ignored for years. Tech nerds, student journalists, community tutors, underrepresented departments. It wasn't about friends. It was about capability. And she never forgot who helped her build the foundation. "You're making enemies fast," Su Yinyan warned as she helped Ji sort student petitions. Ji barely looked up. "I'm not here to decorate a resume. I'm here to build something that lasts." Wu Yifan dropped a fresh batch of files on the table. "You're building a regime." "No," Ji said, flipping to a page. "I'm building a model." "For what?" Qiao Ning asked. Ji smiled. "For how women can lead without apologizing." That Friday, she held her first public meeting, a town hall open to everyone. Students came in droves. No required attendance. No snacks. No bribes. They came because she'd earned their trust. She stood at the front, sleeves rolled. "No podium. We're changing the way decisions get made," she began. "From now on, every club, every major group, every community service program gets to say." A student in the crowd raised their hand. "What if administration pushes back?" G didn't flinch. "Then we push harder." Another hand. "What if they threaten to cut funding?" "We show them the media coverage of our volunteer turnout. We show them the alumni backing us now. And if that fails," she smiled, "we show them how much louder we can get." The room erupted. Later that evening, she received a formal email. Subject: request for meeting. "Dean Liang, your changes have drawn attention. Administration would like to discuss your current course of action." Yin Ri over her shoulder. "Think it's a trap?" Ji nodded. "Definitely." She clicked reply. "Tomorrow, 8 a.m., I'll bring the data. Please prepare your questions in advance." The next morning, she walked into the dean's office with a file that included spreadsheet of all misuse of student funds from the past 3 years. Chart showing increased student participation since her election. A binder of over 800. Student signatures supporting council reform. Dean Liang looked at her over rimless glasses. "You're very thorough." "I have to be," she said. "This many changes, this fast, it creates tension." "Good," she replied. Attention means people are awake. He smiled thinly. You'll make enemies. I already have. You'll be accused of being too aggressive, too sharp, too emotional, too cold. I'm ready. The dean folded his hands. Then we won't stop you. Ji blinked. You're not here to ask me to back off? He chuckled. No, Shenji. I'm here to tell you if you pull this off, the board is watching. They're very interested. Her eyes narrowed. Interested in... He didn't answer directly, just smiled and said, Keep building, Miss Shen. The view from higher floors is clearer. That evening, she stood once again in the quad dot same place, but not the same. Girl dot, she was no longer fighting for survival. She was shaping the structure itself. And behind her, 100 hands ready to hold. The brick stopped because Shenji wasn't just leading anymore. She was creating the blueprint. Chapter 9. Legacy plans and enemies were loaded 3 weeks into her presidency. Shenji had already done what most council presidents failed to do in a year. The mentorship program she proposed had passed in full. Club budgets were published online, open to all students. Mental health services were fully staffed, fully funded, and finally Visible. The system didn't just run smoother. It ran cleaner. And people were starting to notice. Emails flooded in from alumni. Regional student leaders asked for consultations. Even a podcast called Power and Heels invited her to speak about transforming passive governance into active leadership. But that wasn't enough. Because Shenji wasn't here to be popular. She was here to leave something behind. In the newly renovated council office, a whiteboard stretched across one full wall. It was titled Legacy PROJCB Blood. 5 pillars. 5 goals. Policy, continuity, equity, funding. Standards, community oversight board, digital transparency hub, student legal aid line. Liu Yifan stared at it, sipping his energy drink. You're not running for re-election, are you? No, Ji said, capping her marker. I'm building so the next person won't have to fight like I did. Yin glanced over the board. Smart. Set the structure in stone. Exactly. Ji tapped the words oversight board. This one goes first. Qiaoning looked up from her laptop. You're giving the student body power to check the council? Yes. Even check you? Ji nodded. If a system only works when I'm in it, then it's not a system. It's a performance. The room went quiet. They all understood what that meant. This wasn't a victory lap. It was a succession blueprint. Unfortunately, not everyone wanted to see her legacy built, because while students cheered her changes, others watched with clenched jaws. Old council members, suspended club presidents, budget beneficiaries who lost their privileges, the ones she exposed, embarrassed, or outperformed, and now they were gathering that Thursday. A new campaign began quiet, but coordinated. Posters vanished overnight. Emails from her office mysteriously bounced back. Student media outlets were suddenly told to delay publishing articles that praised her work. Even one of her mentorship events was flagged for unauthorized faculty participation and shut down. Yin stormed into the office. We triple confirmed that venue. I know, Ji replied calmly. It's sabotage. I know. Qiaoning slammed her laptop shut. They're trying to erase your narrative, little by little. Ji turned slowly. Then we make it impossible to ignore. The next day, she held a press forum not on school grounds, but at the local community center 2 blocks off campus. She invited professors, alumni, city volunteers, student representatives, and she live-streamed it. The theme? When systems strike back, why progress needs proof. She laid out every block she'd faced in the past. 10 days. Emails being rerouted through outdated domains. Upgrades that accidentally deleted council files. Suspension warnings sent to her event volunteers. She didn't accuse directly. She just showed facts, screenshots, dates, names, signatures, and then she said, if fixing what's broken threatens you, ask yourself why you were benefiting from the cracks. That night, someone tried to access her student record. The system flagged it. A failed login traced back to a terminal in the economics building. The next morning, the acting IT director resigned. But that wasn't the end, because the enemy wasn't just an individual anymore. It was an institutional resistance, a network of whispers, backdoors, and complacency that had always been there. It had just never been challenged this directly before. Now it was awake. And cornered. Liu Yifan looked over the latest reports. They're playing long game sabotage, undermining trust, not attacking you directly but sowing doubt. Jiwi tapped her pen. Then we accelerate. She drafted a proposal that night for the Student Bill of Rights, an official amendment to the university's student code that would codify budget transparency, require multi-party approval for disciplinary action, create protection protocols. For whistleblowers. It was bold, loud, an IGNO-RBL, and if it passed, it would permanently limit how much shadow power the administration or future presidents could hold. You know they'll come for you if you push this, Yin Yang warned. They already are, Ji said. I'm just giving them a reason to stop hiding. The bill went public the next morning. Within 48 hours, 1,200 students signed it, 300 faculty members endorsed it. Anonymously. 3 local media outlets contacted her for interviews. And across campus, the opposition scrambled. Because now the war wasn't against a girl with ambition. It was against a movement with infrastructure. Late one night, as the office lights flickered and her team finally packed up, Ji stood by the window, arms crossed. The city pulsed in the distance. Behind her, Qiaoning asked softly, "Do you ever get tired?" Ji didn't turn around. "I did," she said. "But now?" She looked out across the campus she used to tiptoe through. Now it watched her with respect and fear. "Now I don't have time to be tired," she whispered. "I'm too busy making history." Chapter 10. Break the ceiling, then rebuild it. The vote was scheduled for Friday. The location, the university's grand assembly hall, a space normally reserved for ceremonies and alumni galas. This time, it would decide the future of student rights on campus. The Student Bill of Rights, the most sweeping reform in school history, would be voted on by the combined student-faculty committee. 12 faculty votes, 12 student votes. A tied decision would fall to the dean, and standing at the center of it all, Shen Jiayi. The morning of the vote, she didn't wear a blazer. She wore a simple black turtleneck, hair tied in a clean ponytail. No earrings, no accessories, no makeup. Her team warned her it might make her look too serious. She replied, "Good." At 9 a.m., she walked alone into the hall. By 9:03, every seat was filled. The committee chair, Professor Wen, cleared his throat. "Miss Shen, you have 5 minutes to present your case before voting begins." Ji nodded once, stepped up to the mic. She didn't bring slides. No documents. Just a single copy of the bill folded, annotated, and already lived in. She took a breath, then said, "If you think this is about control, then you haven't been listening." Murmurs rose. She raised her hand. Silence. "This bill isn't about putting power into new hands. It's about making sure power is never unaccounted for again." She locked eyes with the faculty line. "You tell students to learn leadership, but the moment we lead with clarity, you call us reckless. You tell us to speak up. But when we do, you say our tone is too sharp. You ask us to build a better future, but only if it doesn't make anyone in the present uncomfortable." She held up the document. "I'm uncomfortable too, and I still showed up. So I'm asking this committee not to vote for me. I'm asking you to vote for every girl who kept screenshots. Every student who lost their scholarship because they refused to stay silent. Every club that was told, be grateful for what you're given." She paused. "This bill isn't revolution. It's a repair." She stepped back, and the room erupted. The vote began. One by one, names were called. Student votes. Yes. 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 1. No. Then another. Yes. Then 3 more. 11 to 1. Ji didn't blink. Faculty votes. The first was a no. The second, yes. Then yes dot, then no dot, then yes dot, no dot, yes dot. By the 11th vote, it was 11 to 11 dot. Everyone turned to Dean Lian. He straightened his jacket, stepped up, and looked at Shen Zhuai. You've rattled the system, Miss Shen. She looked back. It needed the noise. A long silence. Then, I vote yes. The room exploded. Cheers. Claps. A few stunned gasps. Some faculty members quietly stood and left. But the bill? Past Dot and Shenji? She just closed her eyes, took a breath and smiled. For the first time in months, it wasn't the smile of victory, Dot. It was the smile of peace. That night, the council hosted a final assembly. But instead of a celebration for her, Shenji turned it into a tribute for everyone else. Every tutor. Every volunteer. Every coder who helped build the transparency portal. Every freshman who handed out flyers. She didn't even sit in the front row. She stood near the door's arms, folded, watching the room glow with energy she had once only dreamed of igniting. Wu Yifan found her near the exit. You could have stayed president forever. You know, Jiui smirked. What fun is holding power when you've already broken the ceiling? He raised a brow. You're leaving? She nodded. Next semester. Off to the International Policy Program. Qiao Ning ran over, breathless. You did? Tell us. Ji shrugged. I was waiting for today. Yin Yin appeared with mock outrage. You're just gonna leave us with all of this structure? Jiui smiled. You helped build it. You'll know what to do. They were quiet for a second. Then Yin Yin asked, what are you gonna do now? Ji glanced at the celebration behind her, the students laughing, dancing, debating over projects and plans. She looked back at her friends and said, now, I'm going to build something bigger. A week later, she left campus quietly. No parade. No photos. Just a single envelope left in the student council office. Inside it, a handwritten note. You don't have to be loud to change the world. You just have to know where the walls are soft. Shen geodiched was a USB drive, labeled Blueprints for Those Who Dare Next. The end